Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet I like to call I Am Aware. Now you may ask yourself, what is I Am Aware? And you may say to yourself, this is not my cat video. This is not my favorite band. This is not my conspiracy host. How did I get here? Well, no, we're not those things, and I can't tell you how you got here because the internet is completely insane. But since you are here, why don't you go ahead and kick back and listen for a little bit. For those of you who are completely new to I Am Aware, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory and tell you what we're about. Mostly started back in the college days debating politics and virtually anything we could find to argue about in the little break room. And before you get carried away thinking, ooh, college man and all this, it was a little college on a street where all the buildings had bars on the windows, and if you looked longingly out the window during class, you could see, prostitutes walking up and down the street. So it's nothing fancy. I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just telling you where it started. Uh, so after a while of that, I ended up being kind of forced onto Facebook, and yes, I say forced because basically a couple of people I know started a page, put my name on it, and said, either you run it or we will. And I know you probably don't know those people, but they are not people you want running something with your name on it. So got into that, and after a little bit of that, I decided, well, if I'm going to be on it, I might as well do something worthwhile. So I started a page and thought I could use, same kind of stuff I did back in school, which, worked pretty well, I think, and could use that edgy style and everything to really, reach people a little bit better, and especially younger people and millennials, and get them thinking and involved in politics and crap, and that didn't really work. I mean, the page did okay. In the first few weeks, we got nearly 200 followers, but the biggest age group was like 45 to 95, and yeah, but it still went okay for a while. Eventually, though, through many of Facebook's little format changes and little edits they do to their programming, we just eventually hit a brick wall and went nowhere. Virtually no one was seeing anything. We got virtually no new likes or anything at all. There were a couple, mostly, just a few people that stuck with us and would still regularly like and comment and all, which was real good, real appreciated, but it just didn't go anywhere. And it just hit a brick wall, and finally, by 2016, it kind of slowed to a halt, which kind of a bad thing, because if there's any time you could, get a bunch of people talking about political news, it was probably 2016, but oh well. After a while, though, it was nothing. It's just, it was terrible. Let's be honest. But, the thing is, a lot of people will say, oh, is it political and all this crap with the Facebook and everything. And look, I'll tell you right now, I've followed a lot of different pages and different crap, and Facebook hit everybody. Everybody's been kind of screwed on the Facebook. Anybody that runs a page is kind of screwed because apparently somewhere along the way Facebook decided, hey, we know you've got all these followers and people like to read your stuff, but if you ever want them to see it again, give us money. And so that's pretty much what it turned into. And that's why so many people have gotten off of it. It's not necessarily political. It's just, well, it's a money game. And so that pretty much put an end to everything for a while. But now, obviously, we're rebooting the page. And I will say, I keep saying we. It's basically me. There has been at least one other person over the years of the I Am Aware page, but it's me again. It's just me. So when I say we, just think of the brand of I Am Aware, just putting that out there. But I've updated the look a little bit and added a YouTube, a Twitter, an Instagram, all of that fancy social media crap that I just don't care about at all. But, despite some slight nausea, I think for the good of kind of the message I feel is important that I have to put out there, and I'll power through, you know. Let's see. Well, another thing, I do plan to use an I am aware hashtag. Young people things. But anyway, still, plan to put those on all of our posts across the whole span of all of our pages, channels, whatever. And so that will help link it all together. And so you can use that if you want, if you care to follow everything we have. I'll try and keep that in mind and keep putting that on there. All that said, though, this is still, I'm aware, it is still what it was from the beginning because, well, it's still me going on and probably ranting on quite a bit about all kinds of crap. So as such, there are 5 points, major things that I've always kind of pushed and tried to tell people and everything, and so go ahead and go over those real quick. First off, first and foremost, that I have said constantly, do your own research. If I say something, that's great. If you enjoy watching me, that's great. But don't trust me. Don't just take my word for anything. Research, and that goes for anyone. Any talk show host, any TV person, any news anchor, anybody. Don't trust crap. Okay? Do your own research. You know, gain your own knowledge. You know, have information of your own. Don't just rely on everyone else to do it. And don't believe anything that somebody says just because, okay? So, that's always key one. I say it a lot, and it's important. Secondly, building on that a little bit, think for yourself. You know, there's... People watch all these shows, all these hosts, you know, and whether it's the right and, I don't know, your Rush Limbaughs and your Sean Hannitys, or the left and your morning show and your Stephen Colbert, you know, whatever. You watch all these things and you agree with them, and that's fine. But then you hear them make a good point, and what you feel is a great argument to explain something you believe. And you take that into a debate with someone who disagrees with you, and suddenly they are pissed. And you have no idea why. Why are these people being so irrational? I thought this was a great idea, a great point, and yet they're going insane. Well, the thing you always have to keep in mind with shows and everything like that is basically they make more money the more controversial they can be. The more divisive their points, the more interactive their audience gets, and the better it is for them. So when you use their points to make your points, it's really hard to have a good civil debate and keep it all good and have everybody, you know, maybe actually listen and maybe change somebody's mind because you're using points that are specifically made to rile people. So, you know, form your own opinions. Don't use the things other people do. You can agree with them, and that's fine, but you need to form your own arguments and your own opinions and think for yourself. Okay? And another little point to that, a lot of times these talk show hosts, if they get someone calling in that disagrees with them that's actually making headway against their argument, they can just dump them or cut them off or just yell over them and put an end to it. So they're not always the most sound arguments either. So you can really, you know, step in your own crap there trying to go along with somebody else's ideas and arguments and stuff like that. Just, you know, to help you out a little bit. Third, you should always know what you believe, and you should know why you believe it. And then once you have those things locked in, stand by it. Have some principles, have some kind of thing that you say, this is what I believe, and I stand for it, and I stand by it. Unless you are completely refuted, and what you think is absolutely untrue, you know, you gain some new knowledge that disproves it, then you should stand by it. Unless it's wrong and you know it's wrong, stand by what you think. Stand by what you believe. Otherwise, why do you believe in it? Do you believe in it? Or is it just some crap you like to say because it sounds good to certain people over here, or some chick at the bar likes it when you talk about this or that? You know, have something. Believe something and know about it. I mean, you know, back debating in the old school there, I had to be talking to somebody for an hour. We had a debate on, guns and all this. And it went on and on and on and on. And finally, I, I just looked at them and I said, "Why do you believe this that you keep arguing for? Why do you believe it?" And they just kind of shrugged. Said, "I don't know. I've never really thought about it." Like, okay, so we've been here an hour for you to not even know what the hell you're talking about, basically. That's great. That's fantastic. I'm so glad. You know? But, so, again, know what you believe and know why you believe it. Because if you don't know why you believe it, you probably don't believe it. Or if you do, well, again, you're looking to step in your own crap. So, know what you believe and stand by it and know why you believe it and be able to form your points for it. Fourth, which I have put out quite a bit, I've always said, especially during election years, go, get out, vote. Get informed and vote. Don't just sit there and complain about it. Do something. But it really goes beyond that, I mean, it's great to vote. That's, it's a good thing and all. But if that's where your participation ends, if that's where your work ends, then you aren't doing anything. You have to hold them accountable. And holding them accountable doesn't mean, maybe yell at them on Twitter, and then when they come back in 4 years having lied to you like a dog, you vote for them again because they have the right letter by their name. That's not holding them accountable. And even if you don't want to vote for the other party's candidate, you can at the very least not vote for them. Maybe they win, maybe they don't, but you already know they're going to screw you. So what's the difference? But, it's a lot of work. It really is. And people want to think they can just do a little thing and they've done their part. Like this whole thing, oh, something terrible happened in the world. I made a hashtag. Well, okay, did that make any more people undead? I mean, not zombies, of course. Is anyone less dead because you posted a hashtag? No. And in fact, the way things are going now, people may die because you post a hashtag. Oh, it's against my candidate. It's against my party. Oh, no. Let's punch you in the face. No, let's punch you in the face. And then you got Rock'em Sock'em Robots out in the streets, Anyway, the point is, it's work. It takes work to do something, to make a movement, to do anything. You have to work at it, So, do something. Don't just sit there and say, well, I believe this, and la-di-da, I'm going to watch TV. If you really believe something, if you really want to stand for something, then stand for it. Do something about it. Don't just sit there and say, wow, this sucks, or wow, this would be great, but it's not happening. Do something. Make it happen. That's the whole point, of the whole, representative kind of government, that the people can stand up and say, this is better, or this sucks, we're going to fix it. Not to just sit there and complain and vote for the same people that screwed you in the first place to fix the problem that has come from them screwing you. Anyway, do something. And fifth, finally, a little bit separated from the rest of these points, but prepare for the worst. And, people say that all the time. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, blah, blah, blah. And with all the prepper things and the TV shows that showed, crazy people building bunkers in the desert and buying a tank, you think, well, preppers are insane. I'm not one of those. Well, you look around the world, though. I mean, you look at Puerto Rico and the devastation there, and the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the fires, the terrorism. It is a dangerous world. Crap happens, I mean, lots of crap happens. And, looking at things, I could say that more crap is going to happen. And so, you don't have to buy, a giant ton of dried food or something, but maybe buy a few extra cans when you go to the store. Or maybe, if you're inclined to own a weapon, go ahead and own one and really learn how to use it, And also part of, being prepared for a crap to happen is largely kind of keeping yourself up and ready to do something, I mean, I know I really need to get back into shape a little bit myself. I'm sure most of us do. But, it is an important part. There's a lot of people and, even to the far way out there, oh, everything's going to go to crap and, oh, we're ready for it, and then they're like 400 pounds. And you're like, well, okay. What exactly are you ready for? You know, oh, everything's gone to crap. You know, well, I'm stuck in this chair. I'll defend this place. You know, like, I mean, you know, so you need to keep yourself up, and just prepare. Have a little extra food. Have some plans for emergencies. You know, store up where you can. You don't have to be rich and buy a tank. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or Donald Trump or something crazy to prepare for something. You know, so just try and get ready the best you can. You can only do what you can do, but it's always good to at least keep it in mind and not go crazy about it. Don't let it consume your whole life, and don't sit there in fear thinking, when is it going to come? Just be like, hey, crap happens. I know that. I'm smart enough to know that. I'm ready for that. And then go about your life. But even the smallest little bit, compared to nothing, when something does happen, you're probably going to really appreciate that you've got that little bit. Way more than the person down the street who's like, I really didn't expect anything was going to happen. So prepare. Be ready, because crap does happen. And you never know when, and you never know where, and that's just the way it is, So, that's what the page is about. That's what I'm aware is about for the most part. Now, perhaps the big question of all now is, who the hell is this guy, right? So, I'm going to start with, since all the cool people on the interwebs have their own little handle and nicknames and all this, I've gone ahead and picked one for myself, Wolfman Jake. And if you get that reference, well, bonus points for you. And maybe that explains why I don't connect with the youth as well. But anyway, you may say, okay, why? Well, number one, look at me, seriously. I'm a bit wolfy, so, it's cool. It's a good thing. I like it. Maybe a full moon comes out and I grow a snout and run off. Don't worry about it. It's just me, it's cool. Other than that, the old Wolfman Jack was always very independent, of course. Extremely well known for that, and as you can probably tell from those 5 points I laid out, I tend to be pretty independent myself. And then third, well, while I don't have anything going now, for some future videos and all, I may even have a little background music going on, just a little entertainment, a little extra stuff. It's all good. I enjoy some music. It's always good to put in there. So, it all works. It fits. I'm going with it. Now, what am I about? And why wait this long to talk about it? Fair question. First of all, because, again, looking around, the way things are, the political climate, the way people are just so insanely rabid and ready to attack and completely disavow anyone that has a slightly different opinion than them, I didn't want to start this with, here's what I believe, and then completely turn off, half the people that will see this because they have these generic sack of labels that fit that thing that I supposedly am. So, I wanted to give you a little bit of a chance to just, get a look at me. Maybe see if you find this entertaining at all or something you could enjoy going forward. And now you know. Maybe. Hopefully. And, because it's pretty much over now, I'm going to have to tell you what the heck I think. And you either agree or you don't, and you can either handle that or you can't. Hopefully you can. But, again, who the hell knows anymore. If not, bye. Yeah, good seeing you for a little bit there. Yeah. Anyway, so, as I kind of said already, I am very independent in most everything, really. Politically and just pretty much everything, I mean, I like to stand out and, again, form my own opinions, which means my opinions are different from most everyone else, especially people who just get their opinions on television or the radio and then spout them out repetitively, and it's just, yeah, we don't agree much. But anyway, so, very independent, and especially since 2016, again, it was a big year. But yeah, I really just don't agree with anyone. I can hardly call myself anything. And compared to the other people that identify as that, I can't. Um, you know, and that's just part of it. I mean, like I said, independent, own opinions. You will disagree with me. Okay, consider it a guarantee. I have a disagree guarantee. You will agree with something, maybe half, maybe more, maybe less. You may extremely strongly disagree with me, but I guarantee you, you will disagree with me. And that's okay. We can think different things. It's an amazing thing. Humans can think differently. I know a lot of people are astonished by that fact these days, but you can actually hold a different opinion of someone and not try to kill them or, just lose your mind and scream and run around or throw rocks at them or set them on fire. You can just have some disagreements. It's an amazing thing. I mean, it's I think it was discovered somewhere out in the desert. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's a real thing. I know it seems like an anomaly or some kind of fairy tale, like, oh, disagreements and not attacking each other when but it's real. It's a real thing. I've seen it. It's amazing. But you might want to try it sometime. But so that's it. Again, independent. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm damn sure not Antifa or alt-right. I'm not really a Trump supporter at all. I was not a no supporter at all, or Bush, or Clinton, I mostly don't like anybody. That's the main thing. Like, there's a few politicians, maybe a handful or two, that I think wouldn't necessarily destroy the world if they were given a bunch of power, but otherwise, most of the people in the American government just kind of, they're terrible. They're very bad. Um, so, I don't care. I don't care about parties, and when I go and vote, I don't care. I try and look stuff up best I can. I voted Republican, I voted Democrat, I voted Independent, all in the same election. So, I do what I can to find out everything I can about them, where they stand, the best you can tell, depending on, how much is just their campaign making up a bunch of crap that sounds good or not, But, always try. And I don't really fit in with any of it anymore. And the best I could probably describe myself is kind of a constitutionally minded realist. I mean, the founding principles, I've always been into history and all this stuff, so I know them fairly well. They're good. They're good. But the way things are today, it's obviously there's a problem. There's starting to be a breakdown, and there's a lot of people that want to stand on, that and say, well, the principle says, and just let anyone do this or let anyone do that, and it's like, well, we're getting to a point where people exercising their rights is getting a hell of a lot like people overthrowing the country, but whatever. It's fine, I guess. Whatever. You want to stand by the principles that much. I mean, it's hard to fault you, again, especially considering how little people do stand by those principles anymore. But, so it's hard to knock you for it, but at the same time, the realist side of me says, it's not, 1776 or 1791 or whatever. Things are rough. Things are different. I think, we're in a bit of a position to where maybe, well, to avoid inciting anything, I'll just say it's one of the problematic periods that maybe the founders didn't necessarily have a nice, happy, lawful, written out answer to. Is that a good way to put it? I don't know. I'm not inciting violence. I'm not saying attack anyone. I mostly say don't attack people, But there are extremes that just keep rising up and growing, and it's problematic. But anyway, like I said, for the most part, in general, I'm definitely for the Constitution, and believe in, equality for all men and the God-given rights that no man can take away because no man gave them to you. That's something people seem to forget about God-given rights. Like, well, I don't believe in God. I don't think that should be there. Well, if you don't believe in it, well, then that means nothing can take your rights away. Maybe you should be glad that something that doesn't exist is the only thing that could take your rights away because it's the thing that gave them to you. But anyway, maybe you could just roll with it a little more. But anyway, I believe in the God-given rights in general, and the representative government that's kind of formed all the way back from days of Moses and all that, which I don't know how many people realize that. A lot of people credit Rome and Greece with that, but if you look back, Moses is leading them out of the desert, and his father-in-law comes up, and he's like, I got all these problems. All these people are coming to me constantly and saying this is wrong and this is wrong, and there's thousands of them. I can't handle this. And so his father-in-law's like, well, why don't you just put captains over the 10s and the 20s and the 50s and the 100s, and then those people bring their problems to that guy, and then if he can't handle it, he'll bring it to the next guy up, and he'll bring it to the next guy up, and if they really don't get it, they'll come to you, and it'll really lighten your load, and everything can go a little more smoothly. And, that's basically what representative government is. You gotta, you have one person that this group has elected to speak for them, and it goes up the line to the main guy, So, anyway, but yeah, and yes, and all that. I said God, I said Moses. Oh no, he's religious, yes. I am. I'm sorry. It's a terrible thing these days. I know. I'm a backwards savage. I think I eat rocks most nights for dinner. I'm terribly primitive, but hopefully you can look past that. But in the last few years, well, especially the last two, being away from this, I've kind of reshifted the focus towards that a little bit. Doesn't mean that if you're not religious, you can't get anything from what I'll be saying or doing or anything, but it's going to be there. I'm not going to hold it back as much as I used to. I always used to kind of say, well, yes, there are these moral ideals, but there's a reason for it. I've never believed that, God was just a fool randomly throwing laws for no reason, so, there's obviously logical reasons why they make sense, and I would try to hit these things from more logical sides and say, this is why, why they actually work and why this is ridiculous. Which I guess it goes okay, but yeah, I'm going to be a little more upfront about the more religious side of it now. If that's a problem for you, again, sorry. If you can stick it out, great. If that's just so much of a problem you can't stand it, the mere mention of God gives you hives and you start breaking into a sweat. Bye. Nice seeing you. So, yeah. Let's see. You want to go into me personally? I guess I'm a bit of a Renaissance wolf man, you could say. Into sports, of course, mostly football, American football, for those of you elsewhere in the world or whatever. But, that's, I guess, my main sport. But I will say, I've always knocked soccer and had a good time with that, but I did end up watching some of this last World Cup in 2018 here, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't football, but it wasn't bad, Although, don't get me wrong, they aired some Major League, American League, whatever, soccer after the World Cup, throughout the time that was playing, and I stayed on and watched part of one of those games, and yeah, that's the kind of soccer I just can't stand. So, it's not soccer. Elite level of soccer I can deal with, But, I mean, all kinds of stuff. I've gotten into hockey, especially more recently, because, well, mostly it's been more available on my television, lately, at least in the playoffs. And it doesn't hurt that the Predators got in. Which, yeah, maybe gives up where I'm at a little bit. And I will say for the football, too, go Titans. Of course, we're in, our 10th rebuilding season out of the last 15 seasons, but Yay! you know. Well, that stuff. Some boxing, some racing. Racing used to be a lot better. Auto racing, stock car racing. I tend to like the stock car racing because, it's a contact sport. Um, or at least it was. It kind of is sometimes, but they're just kind of running it under the ground with all the rules and the crap. And it's like, let's have 400 laps of just, well, you know what? That's not what most people are watching it for. I mean, it's a sport born out of, bootleggers running their hot rods down the street, racing each other and running each other off the road and running from the police. I don't think, fancy, hoity-toity racing, that's not what it is. But anyway, so those sports and, the Olympics, yeah, watch plenty of that. I like the competition, and maybe a little too much because during that last Winter Olympics, I was kind of watching it, and it was getting near the end of it, and they started doing that curling, and I watched it long enough that I actually started to get what it meant and what was going on, and I had to turn it off and walk away. Um, you can like curling, that's fine. I have to draw a line somewhere, though, and competitive sweeping, I think, has to be it for me. If I went much further, I'd be spending my last dime watching competitive paint drying or something. So, that's just where I put the line. You can like it if that's your thing, that's fine. But yeah, no, I I can't do that. I just can't. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's enough with that. I know I'm probably running long on time anyway. So I'll move on. Beyond that, let's see. Well, yeah. If you've followed us at all, you've probably known I'm into video games a little bit. That's been kind of my one luxury item, I think, over the years. And if you're into that, I'll go ahead and say, games like, the Fallout series and the Skyrim and the Assassin's Creed and Bioshock and things like that. I did do the Call of Duty thing. I played Call of Duty since, like, the first Call of Duty. So, I liked it for a very long time. And now, just, again, talk about running things into the ground. I mean, just, you know. So, yeah, it just got ridiculous. I remember when you could actually play the game and not be done in, like, half an hour, and then it's all about running around like lunatics shooting each other in multiplayer. Like there was an actual game to it at one point. Again, amazing thing, I know, but Call of Duty used to be an actual game that you could play for days and go through Africa and fighting the Nazis. It was great, but yeah, it kind of lost it a little bit, but anyway. And I will say, I've worked on some stuff with that, and I tried to make a go at it during that little period after 2016, trying to do something, and I've sent some crap in for the Fallout and the Bioshock. I liked it. Didn't get much of a response, but still, not giving up on that. I've got too many ideas to just let them go, But anyway, so there's that, and then, kind of the same line, movies and stuff like that. The comic movies, they're all great and cool. I never got into the comic books themselves as a kid, but, it's cool stories, It's a lot of fun. Marvel's done well. DC has done less well, but, the movies haven't been bad. There have been. And then, the Star Wars, that was good at one point. A lot of stuff starting to kind of go downhill lately, but I don't know how Disney can buy Marvel and do so great with it, and then buy Star Wars and just like, but maybe it'll come back around, maybe. If not, hey, sell it to me. I'm sure I've got ideas for that too, I've got crap for everything. So, but anyway, yeah, that stuff. about anything Mel Brooks. That's always good. And, you know, Guy Ritchie stuff, that's fun. Uh, I know you're thinking, why do I care? Well, it's just kind of a baseline. Again, I may reference tons of odd things, so just to get, just letting you know, that stuff may come up. But anyway, beyond that, again, as I said, music and, there's all kinds of stuff from back of the big band eras and swing and jazz and all that stuff through early country. Hank Williams, okay, Johnny Cash, okay, 80s, 90s, and now, no. Just no. And then, a lot of rock and stuff. I guess that would be my favorite, but even that lately, a lot of music's gone down. Everything's gone downhill. Everything sucks. That's my main point to this. But no, I mean, there's still some good bands and still some old bands doing some good stuff, and there's some old bands doing some not as good stuff too, but, what are you going to do? Beyond that, art, again, to definitely go with the Renaissance thing. I've always appreciated that. Bit of an artist myself. Again, I've got like a 15-pound box of paper sitting here in front of me right now, full of all kinds of crap. Of course, it's not pictures so much as designs and all kinds of, again, all the stories and junk like I had talked about earlier. It's a lot. I've got a lot. I've done a lot with my time, But, yeah, Renaissance art was great. Lots of art was nice, Really well done statues carved in marble and all these great famous paintings and then, again, I mean, you got Picasso drawing green ears on people's knees and boobs on their forehead and saying, yeah, that was really great, and art now is basically what? A dot? Or, hey, I drank some paint and threw up on a canvas, it's art. Or, hey, I did nothing to this canvas and it's art. Or, hey, I pooped in a jar and it's art. Or, hey, I stacked this trash and it's art. No, it isn't. It really isn't, okay? I mean, there's art and there's mental issues. It's a fine line. Artists have a reputation as being a bit off, But again, there's a line. And when you're spewing bodily fluids onto something and calling it art, I think you've crossed the line. I know plenty of people, very civilized people, would tell me that I just don't get it. I'm not, I don't know enough. I'm not cultured enough to understand the struggles of the dot, But yeah, and I'll agree. No, I don't get it because I am fairly mentally sound. So no, I don't get it. But just gotta put that out there. Beyond that, I think like I mentioned earlier, into a lot of history, military, and tactics, and and then of course you get into weaponry and cars and all that man stuff, So, but everything for the most part. I'm basically, I have an interest in most everything. If it exists, I can have some kind of interest in it. For the most part. Not everything. But anyway, I'll just leave that alone. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, an interest in virtually everything mixed with a memory that just grabs onto and latches just onto all kinds of random information and stuff. Some of it's really great and useful. Some of it is, I don't know why it's there, and it pops up, and it's like, I know this, and I'm like, why do I know this? I shouldn't know this, but anyway, it just, all that combined, it really, like I said, there's going to be some really weird references, probably. So, again, bonus points if you can keep up, but, at the very least, you're probably watching this on YouTube or something. Hey, you hear me say something weird and you don't get it, look it up. Maybe you'll have a fun little thing for the day, Anyway, uh, finally, uh, I don't know, some more, just the way I guess I work and think and all. I'm a bit old world. It's old school plus, you know. I just I see things differently. The way things are, the way people seem to think now. Yeah, I don't mostly agree with it. Um, you know, I get old stuff. And maybe that's part of the not having a ton of money thing. Because you can't afford new world stuff. I mean, I'm in the millennial age bracket, and yet I've used a rotary phone, and I've typed school papers on a manual typewriter. And I was not happy when I turned it in, and the teacher said, "It's in the wrong font." Okay, you're in the wrong building. But anyway, okay, I may be a little angry and violent at times too, but it's fine. It's fine. I don't act on it. It's just you shake a little bit and you picture disemboweling someone, and then you move on. It's fine. Um, but yeah, old world. Again, as you can probably tell from my tiny little rant on art there, which trust me, that could have lasted a lot longer. Um, I am a purist, for sure, kind of an originalist in most things, and kind of in line with that. In probably a futile attempt, I'm going to try to reclaim the original meaning of this next word because it has a horrible reputation. It's the first video. Give me a break, right? Anyway, but it has a horrible reputation. It's just because it's mostly used for white nationalists. And, so you hear nationalist and you think of somebody in a Nazi helmet goose stepping down Main Street, and that's just not the case. Really the word nationalist is basically a synonym for patriot or something. So, I generally support a country I call home. I don't want it to suck and collapse because, I live there, if nothing else. But, yeah, so I am, hold your judgment of the word, a nationalist. No, I'm not a white nationalist or a crazy xenophobic lunatic. I really don't care about, any of the other stuff. What? Ooh, I'm slightly different shade of tan than you. Oh no, I don't care. Who cares, But anyway, so, yeah. But, again, don't freak out over the word. It's a simple word. It really doesn't have a bad meaning, but everybody hears it and they think the absolute worst. So I will use it for myself just to try and reclaim it, and probably in doing so I will be labeled on the internet as a Nazi. So, but I try. Uh, let's see. Beyond that, I like to think I have a healthy, suspicion. Again, going back to the don't trust, news, don't trust anything at face value. It's a healthy suspicion, You shouldn't go around just blindly following things. And I firmly believe that, and so I don't. You also should have some good, healthy suspicion, not insane paranoia, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat, and, if you trip on a rock when you go out a door, oh, the government put it there. Damn it, keep it down. It's healthy suspicion. Just a healthy amount. Just skepticism, just a little bit of, yeah. Don't go crazy with it. And on that, again, as I said, a realist, and as you can probably tell from my everything is going downhill and sucks segment, I'm a very pessimistic realist. I tend to look at the worst, then see worst outcomes and potentials, and I wish I could say I was wrong more often, but, lately I tend to be right, and it's a shame, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm fine. Everything sucks. I expect that. It's a good thing, okay? temper your expectations and everything's okay, you know. But yeah. And other than that, I mean, I could go on, but I'm sure you probably already know more about me than you could ever want to. So I'll just wrap up and say, mainly, I'm an ass. You know, that's really the other main thing you may need to know. I'm an ass. I will make fun of people when they fall down. I will make fun of them when they get up. I will make fun of them when they leave. I will see them 2 days later, and I will be like, ah, you fell down. I'm an ass. You know, it's fine. I know it. It's fun. I'm not fun. It's great. You know, so it's a little rude. It may be a little insensitive at times, but you know, it's all in good fun. You know, I'm not trying to convince anyone. Oh, you're terrible. Kill yourself. You know, mostly. You'll know it if just don't worry about it. Anyway, but you know, and that's about it. That's what the page is. That's a large part, at least, of what I am. And there you have it. You know, I always try to, on this page, be pretty open as possible, within reason. Which, the way people act today, sometimes, I think people share things outside of the limits of reason, but I try to stay within those bounds. But still, you know, I've always thought that if you're going to listen to somebody on politics, on religion, on anything, you should have an idea of who they are and what they're about and what they think and why. And so I try to be open about things. And hopefully this has given you an idea of that. And whether you agree with me in large part or not at all or whatever, hopefully you can get past that. If you've had a good time, hopefully you'll come on back and, you know, go ahead and like, subscribe, follow, whatever. You know, go ahead and hit the notifications, hit the see first, whatever. You know, I'm not going to blow up your news feed, you know, with constant posts or anything. At least not now. One day. Yeah. But, you know, so hope you'll consider it. Give us a chance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that wraps up the first video for I'm Aware. Hopefully it wasn't terrible. Seemed okay from my end, but what do I know? I'm a little biased on that, I think. So hope you enjoyed. Again, if you did, whether you agree or not, hope you'll stick with us, give us a chance, listen some more. Like I said, I do have a very specific message that I'm putting out shortly following this. So, you know, if you're seeing this video well after it was originally posted, you might want to look for that. But otherwise, like us, don't. And if you can't stand me, again, I'm surprised you've watched this long. If you think it's funny or if you think it's whatever, you enjoy it, like it. If you don't, what can I do? Okay? I don't mean write me and say, if you did this, I'd like you more. No, I don't really care. When I say, what can I do? Nothing. That's mostly what I can do. I'm me. Like I said, I'm very open. I am what I am, and that's pretty much it. You know, I'm a purist. I'm set in my ways. So anyway, but like I said, that'll do for now. I'll quit wasting your time. Let you get back to your cat videos and music videos and crazy and whatever the heck else you people do on the internet. I don't know. Yeah. Good luck. Thanks for watching regardless. Hope you'll like it. Hope you'll share it. And again, subscribe, follow, whatever, if you really like it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, good night, whatever the heck it is where you are. I'm out.